Hello everyone and welcome to my corner of the wild. So today it's an opportunity for me to play with some of the new goodies from the 24 to 25 annual catalogue. There's lots to share in here over the coming weeks, and so the first thing I want to share with you is this delightful paper. Now it's called Thoughtful Journey, and you can see that it's got the most beautiful sort of watercolor effects. There's different designs in the packet here, and if you want to know the colors, it's always listed on the back so you know which colors to use. So I looked at these and the backing is just as beautiful as the front, and so I was trying to think of a way of putting a card together where we could feature both sides of the paper, and this is what I've come up with. So I thought that I could start with a card base. So this is just 8.5 by 5.5, and I have just scored it at 4.25, and I obviously done a little bit of thinking before I started, and I've got a half a sheet. So this is, I just cut this at 3, comes at 6 by 6, and I've cut it 5.5, and my thought is that if I was to attach this to the front of the card but cut the card off about here, so that when you open the card you could actually see the inside of the paper as well. So I get my trimmer here. Let's see what we've got. Now this is 3 inches, so if I want that to go to 3 inches to the what would be like the edge of the card, I need a bit of an overlap. So let's see, where does that come? Can't see for my glasses. Hold on a sec. My distance vision is fantastic, but my close vision is pretty awful. So I have to stand back to see it, otherwise I have to put my head in the screen. Okay, so let me have a think about that a sec. I think I need to cut that at maybe, so if I cut that at 6, no, I'm going to cut it at 5 3/4, because then that gives me like a half, 1.5 inches plus 3 inches gives me 1/4 inch overlap. Does that make sense? So I've ended up with a piece, let me get my trimmer out the way. I've ended up with a piece that is 5 3/4 by 5.5, and I've just sort of scored it at 4.25 if you look at it that way. But don't worry about measurements, because now I've worked it out. When I publish the video, there'll be a link below to my blog, and I'll put all that information on there. So then we can put that like that, and maybe we could have ourselves a little bit of a border. Now this is looking a bit plain and uninteresting, so we need either to do some embossing or some stamping, and I think I'm going to do some stamping, and I'm going to use this Thoughtful Wishes, which is like coordinates with this particular paper. So I pulled out a few stamps to get them on the blocks to save a bit of time, and so we need to get a piece of paper here. Now this color card is called Boho Blue, and I'm going to use the same color ink because we've got so many lovely colors going on here that I don't really want to introduce yet another color to confuse the situation. And I'm going to use a tone on tone technique. So I've got ink on there, but I'm going to stamp off one time, and I'm just going to add it to that front panel just to take some of the plainness. And while I'm at it, I am going to do that in full ink. I think I'm going to do that on my envelope. So I've got a nice decorated envelope here. Alrighty. Now then, let's see what we can do next. I'm thinking that it also needs to have a liner to write your to you, love from me, but we can't have it plain. We just can't have it plain. So I'm using one of the other stamps from the set. It's a little bit smaller, so that leaves a bit more room to write your message inside. So that's that bit done. And I think I'm just going to get that stuck down while the idea is fresh in my mind, because otherwise it's just as likely to disappear. Right, so let's get that down there. I'm going to pick it up a sec just so that I can see without getting my head in the screen. So there we've got that going on. So now we can stick this. So okay, so looking at this, if I do it like that, that's okay. But I wonder what it'll look like if we actually just inched it in and leveled it up with that white. And then that would kind of give a border as well, which is quite nice. So let's just see how much. Oh, I've got a nice bit of overlap. So I'm going to very, very carefully put a little adhesive along here, so that enough so that it doesn't squidge out. And just to make sure, oh no, I need to have it so I can see where it's going, don't I? I need to see and line it up. All right, so now I've got that lined up against the piece of white, and it's the same length as my card base. And let's just go ahead and give that a bit of a squeeze. See what I mean? So now we've got pretty paper on the outside and pretty paper on the inside. I just love it. All right, so we need to do something else with this card. So let's have a look at the stamp set. So we've got some lovely greetings with super fonts. You know that this is right up my street because it's got a dotty stamp. It's got some lovely greetings. It's got florals or foliage, and it is good. So I also wanted to share with you a new set of dies called Unbounded Love. And this has got a mass of label dies and some nice leafy ones as well. So, and I'm sure I'll be sharing with you these again with the coordinating stamp set, but I want to use this. And I decided that this would be the perfect one for this card because the thanks goes into it just right. So let's get some card. Right. So I'm going to stamp my greeting, and I'm going to stamp it in the same blue, full strength ink. I'm just going to pop it like that. And then we're going to cut. And I've got my little cut and emboss machine, and I'm going to be using this tape. So this is like sticky note tape, but it's sticky on it all, on sort of the whole length and width. So it's really good. We're going to stick that down just to stop it moving. and then I'll pop my other clear plate on top and then see what we've got. So hopefully that didn't move when we sent it through. Let's just see. Ooh, goody goody. That's looking good. And now you may be familiar with this technique, but I'm going to just share this with you. And I'm going to cut another piece of that same shape out using the boho blue this time. No stamping. So this die is just, there's just sort of one die this shape in the pack. It hasn't got different sizes like nested. So I want to put myself a border around this to make it stand out on here, give it a bit more presence. So I've got my piece. Oh, it's kind of nested itself with those stitched bits. I'm going to get a pair of scissors and I'm literally going to cut right across the middle like that. And then with my adhesive, I'm going to use liquid. You know I like my liquid. I prefer liquid to the tape, the stamping seal. But that's just me. You use whatever makes you happy. And then I'm going to lay this down here. And I'm going to match up my ends like that and turn it over and just make sure it's even. So I think if I just get those stitches lined up, just a little gap, a little bit more. There we go. And then just making sure that I get the same layer. Oh, darn. And I'm just going to pinch it together like that. So I've got a gap on the back, but of course no one's going to know because this is going to be stuck down. And just to give it a little bit of extra support, I'm going to put my Stampin' Dimensional over that gap like that. Okay. So let's get that down. Okay. So now to find somewhere where it will go without sort of losing too much of all this lovely artwork. Oh, maybe I'll just pop him down here. That'll work. Now I like to make sure that I'm using some existing products along with new products when I make my cards, particularly this time of year when we've just had a new catalogue out. So we have this ribbon. This is the ribbon from last year that coordinated with this card. You can see it's quite wide and was a bit too chunky. So what I've done is I've literally just cut it in half along the length, and I'm just going to put a bow in it. And I'm liking the fact that it is fraying a bit because it can give the card a bit of a shabby chic look, which I think works really, really well with the fact that this paper is sort of a watercolor effect. I don't want a terribly big bow. I just want a smallish one like that. So we're going to cut off those ends. They're a bit on the long side like that. It's a bit too long as well, Cindy. And then I'm going to get the pointy end of my tool, my Take Your Pick tool, and I am going to just give that a bit more fray Let's see. And then I think it just looks a bit more like it was supposed to be like that. And it's not a case of that I've got ribbon that's not in a good place. And there's a little piece there that is just being a bit difficult. I think that's like the ribbed edge. So let's see, where can we put that? Can we pop it there? Should we pop it? Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to pop it there. And get my little glue dots. And I'm thinking I need a little bit of subtle bling. And I thought I would probably do that before, before I got my stuff out and switch my camera on. And we've got these lovely iridescent foil gems. And you can see with this is a product that's being carried over to the new catalogue. So again, I'm using a product that we've had for a little while, but you can see that they're lovely, got little flecks of gold in them. So we're just gonna perhaps pop a couple, oh, maybe we have one there, and I don't know, where should we put another one? Maybe we can put another one up there, and maybe there should be like 3, so we pop one down there. Okay, so there we have a nice card. You can't really call it a fancy fold. There's nothing fancy about it. But we did do a bit of tone-on-tone stamping, and we've done a little bit of ribbon tie-in with and sort of give it a bit of a shabby chic sort of look. And we did the technique where we were putting the back in, putting a frame on there. And when we open, we've got a lovely paper to look at inside the card as well. Well, I really hope that you've enjoyed this one. I enjoyed working with these new products. If you have enjoyed it, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you don't already do so. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. And I really thank you for choosing to spend some time with me today. Bye-bye for now.